We are in the middle of the SCO summit in Azerbaijan, and we are going to witness the BRICS summit in a few days. So, a lot of diplomatic activity around the world. How do you see India using these forums and diplomatic initiatives? What are its objectives, and do you think it has succeeded in achieving those objectives?
You saw criticism even in India that you sent delegations in 33 countries, countries that many people even haven't seen on the world atlas, Guyana, and countries that don't matter in Pakistan-India rivalry or terrorism. So they had an embarrassment there.
You are saying that the Indian strategic tourism has failed. Why do you think Mr. Jaishankar's job seems to be at risk?
It's not just about Jaishankar. The rot begins at the top. Actually, they can't figure out what to say. The best thing is you admit that you lost. You are just inventing hundreds of excuses why you lost. General Rahul Singh wakes up from a long, dusky slumber today and finds out that 81% of Pakistan's military hardware comes from China. We didn't give the percentage how much hardware and software of Indian military comes from United States, from Israel, from France, from Russia. I mean, what kind of excuses are they? You have lost, simply you have lost.
Viewers, with another fresh episode of our regular weekly program, The Weekend, I am Muhammad Ali.
And I am Murtaza Solangi.
So, Mr. Solangi, we have witnessed that the world is engulfed in a number of regional conflicts, which are short but very intense. We witnessed Pakistan-India fight a very intense war in the month of May this year. Then we saw Iran and Israel also embrace each other in a very intense and another 12-day long war. So I think, but there is also a regular sort of expression from Washington that President Trump seeks peace and is trying to mediate and manage conflicts. So I think there are a lot of interesting trends. But let me start off by asking you that in the last sort of 5-6 weeks, after the South Asian conflict between the two nuclear-armed arch rivals, India and Pakistan, we have witnessed a number of high-level, multilateral, and bilateral diplomatic initiatives from both New Delhi and Islamabad. And we saw Mr. Shashi Tharoor, visit the whole world practically, trying to, badmouth Pakistan. And Pakistan's former foreign minister and People's Party chairman, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, also undertook a visit to important capitals in the West. And then we saw the SCO Minister of Defense conference. We just recently witnessed the Quad conference, and we are in the middle of the SCO summit in Azerbaijan, and we are going to witness the BRICS summit in a few days. So a lot of diplomatic activity around the world. But let me ask you, How do you see India using these forums and diplomatic initiatives? What are its objectives, and do you think it has succeeded in achieving those objectives?
To me, it looks like India is on a roll with missteps since April 22nd. And after this conflict ended on May 10. And it continues missteps, both in narrative domain, the military domain, communication domain, and diplomatic domain. And it looks like it's not in a position to recover from those losses and continues more mistakes it makes, more it falls into this loop and cycle of further missteps. I'm sure you have seen what happened in SCO. It was a huge embarrassment for India because they could not create a consensus on what they wanted to do. And you saw criticism even in India that you sent delegations in 33 countries that many people even haven't seen on the world atlas, Guyana, and countries that don't matter in Pakistan-India rivalry or terrorism. So they had an embarrassment there. Then earlier you saw the UN Security Council resolution. But probably the worst thing that has come out recently was the Quad statement. It condemned Pahalgam terrorism incident, so did Pakistan. But the language of that joint statement of 4 strategic partners in the Indo-Pacific, they could not even name the country, India, asking other countries to cooperate with. They said concerned authorities. So it looks like they are on a losing spree. Now, on Sunday, they have BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And Mr. Modi started an 8 days, 5-nation visit of countries like Namibia, Trinidad and Tobago, that they have a mutual trade of just a couple of $100 million, not even $1 billion, except Namibia. But an 8-day visit, wishing that he would be able to meet Xi Jinping and Putin. Well, lo and behold, they are not coming.
So let me follow it up by asking you that when we heard Mr. Shashi Tharoor speak in the US, there were 3 key meta narratives that India attempted to promote after the India-Pakistan conflict. Number 1, Kashmir is at best an internal issue of India, and if not, then at most a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. Secondly, Pakistan is allegedly the source of terrorism. And number 3, India reserves the right to attack Pakistan at will. So do you think in all these bilateral and multilateral engagements, I cannot identify even a single state or forum which has endorsed these allegations and narratives that India has attempted to promote? Your thoughts?
Well, it was an excellent junket and excursion on the, on the taxpayers' money in India, but it didn't give anything to India. I mean, look at the statements of President Trump. He was honored to meet the man India maligned all this time, Field Marshal Asim Munir. And he goes on repeating that he is the one who arranged the ceasefire between two nuclear neighbors. He continues taking credit, while Jaishankar, who has heavily been criticized as the most incompetent foreign minister of India, his own job looks like in danger because Indian social media and some sections of media have started rumoring that maybe Mr. Tharoor will replace him, as if Mr. Tharoor climbed Mount Everest during his diplomatic exercise.
So it seems that you are saying that the Indian strategic tourism has failed. And the last point that you made, I want you to expand a bit further for the benefit and interest of our viewers. Why do you think Mr. Jaishankar's job seems to be at risk?
I'm not sure if it is at risk, but this is what has been reported. The problem is that it's not just about Jaishankar. The rot begins at the top. The fish rots from the head. So what was so extraordinary that Mr. Modi did? Look at the statement of Shiv Kumar, the Indian defense attaché in Indonesia, saying that, oh, we didn't respond because we were told not to hit Pakistani defense installations, as if when they were hitting civilian positions in Pakistan, Pakistani aircraft, fighter jets, and their pilots were supposed to fire rose petals from their cockpits.
No, but I want you to, that's a very important point you've raised, Mr. Solangi. I want you to expand further on this. Does this mean that a serving senior Indian Air Force officer who spoke recently in Indonesia at a seminar is claiming that while allegedly they were deprived by their political leadership to attack Pakistani military installations, which is obviously not the case because, Pakistani 3 air bases were attacked, and you know very well. Secondly, when over 84 drones were sent across the length and breadth of Pakistan, targeting civilian population and installations, were they given a specific formal approval from the political leadership to target Pakistan's civilian population all over the country?
Actually, they can't figure out what to say. The best thing is you admit that you lost. You are just inventing hundreds of excuses why you lost. Just like today, their Deputy Chief of Army, General Rahul Singh, saying, oh, we were not fighting against Pakistan. Actually, we were fighting against China and Turkey and maybe the Charlie's aunt. I
No, but
mean,
that's a very important point, and I want to discuss this in detail with you because it's very fascinating that how the Indian diplomatic leadership, Indian political leadership, and Indian military leadership have a completely conflicting stance towards what happened during India-Pakistan war, why it happened, and how it happened. We are witnessing the political leadership was absolutely quiet during the conflict because it seems that they were shocked that the results were not what they were expecting. And you recall, we have discussed this on this very program during the crisis and before the conflict started, that Mr. Modi had given formal approval to the military leadership headed by the CDS
freedom.
that you are allowed to target anything of your choice as long as you make me look good and popular and strong before the world and my voters. Now, if the Air Force chooses a target of their choice, their officer in international seminars are alleging that the political leadership did not allow or permit them to target military installations, which they actually did. They did attack the Rafiki Air Base. They did attack Chaklala Air Base. They did attack the Murid Air Base after Pakistan decided to respond firmly and decisively. So, and when you look at their military leadership, which you just mentioned, this is also very interesting that they are blaming Pakistan for being a lab for the Chinese weapons and being supported by Turkey and China. Whereas in reality, if you look at the world's most authoritative and credible accounts of arms purchases, like the SIPRI Yearbook of Stockholm, like the military balance of IISS London, they will tell you that India is the world's largest arms importer in the world, and and they have a budget almost 9 times bigger than that of Pakistan in terms of defense spending. And they are blaming, their military leadership is blaming Pakistan for being supported by Turkey and China, which only means that they are confessing that their strategic behavior was not acceptable even to their closest allies in either Quad or with the US at the bilateral level. Their strategic behavior was not acceptable even to the US. It was not acceptable even to the Quad members like Australia, Japan, and other countries. Whereas they are blaming Pakistan for being diplomatically and militarily supported by other countries. So this is an evidence and a confession that Pakistan's military behavior was not only more responsible, but their diplomatic reaction that they received around the world was also that of favor and understanding. What's your take on this?
Simply laughable. General Rahul Singh wakes up from a long, dusky slumber today and finds out that 81% of Pakistan's military hardware comes from China. We didn't give the percentage how much hardware and software of Indian military comes from United States, from Israel, from France, from Russia. I mean, what kind of excuses are they? You have lost, simply you have lost. We lost in 1971. So you lost this battle that you initiated on this bubble of arrogance that you have Rafale and this and that. So they are just making a laughing stock of themselves by those statements at most conflicting with each other. Anil Chauhan says something, he says something else. their defense attaché says something else. So this is quite a comedy show that they have created for the entire globe.
And another very interesting development is that not just Pakistan's army chief, but Pakistan's air chief also had a very successful visit to the US, perhaps the first in 10 years, and in which interoperability, joint exercises, training, and defense cooperation has been discussed, not just between Pakistan's air chief and US air chief, but also their Secretary of the Air Force and also at the State Department. So it seems that Pakistan US bilateral relations in the military domain, in the economic domain, in the political domain, in the diplomatic domain are improving actually after this conflict. Whereas one sees that there is an unease and a reluctance in New Delhi even to face the US after this conflict. And you remember Mr. Trump called Mr. Modi, invited him to visit on his way back from G7 summit in Canada. But he avoided having an audience with Mr. Trump. This means that US and India are not comfortable right now after this conflict. So, Mr. Solangi, after this detailed analysis of South Asian diplomatic and strategic environment after the South Asian conflict, another topic I want to briefly discuss with you is the monsoon season in South Asia. And I want to discuss it in the context of the Indian unilateral violation of the Indus Water Treaty. I was talking to the National Disaster Management Authority leadership yesterday, and also the leadership of Pakistan's Met Office. And they are concerned that while on one side, uh, Pakistan faces a greater water security risk as a direct consequence of the unilateral and illegal Indian violation of Indus Water Treaty and not receiving regularly the data related to the water situation in different rivers as a lower riparian, which is Pakistan's legal and sovereign right. Secondly, Pakistan witnessed the opening of the Salal Dam by India, which created a flood-like situation in Chenab River recently, and the National Disaster Management Authority and Met Office leadership are concerned that during the monsoon season, particularly due to the climate change, the risk of flash floods is quite high. And India could actually use this opportunity to further create problems for Pakistan. So, your thoughts on that?
Well, they are defeated, they are angry, and they would not share hydrological data with Pakistan. So we have no other option but to be prepared for any flood-like situation. We can't rely on India, especially whatever has happened to them recently. We should only expect worse from the other side of the border.
I think that's a very important point, and that, on a parting note, gives me an idea that makes the role of Pakistan's peaceful space program very important. That if we could invest more on our remote sensing and space-based satellites, which could enable Pakistan a clearer, better, real-time picture of the water situation in South Asia, that will help perhaps reduce the risks that Indian irresponsible behavior towards the violation of Indus Water Treaty poses to Pakistan. But I think I wish all the international viewers a peaceful and enjoyable rest of the weekend. And those who are living in South Asia, I hope you stay safe and dry during the monsoon seasons and the upcoming floods. Thank you so much for joining us and keep watching this program. And don't forget to share your feedback and comments below. Thank you so much.
Thank you.